All right, welcome once again to the Light Morning Show edition, right here on the mighty 91.7 WLFR. Also heard Friday evenings on 106.5 WPPM in Philadelphia. Right about now, we have a very special guest, probably the most special guest that we will have this week. We have the Dean of Arts and Humanities from Stockton University, Dr. Ian Marshall. So, right off the bat, would you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, Dr. Marshall?
Well, thank you very, very much for having me. And welcome. I want to welcome everybody to the show, and it's a great pleasure to be on. I've been here at Stockton now for about 2.5 years, and it's a great time to be at a great institution like this, and certainly in the field, the disciplines of the arts and the humanities. So, thank you.
Okay, well, please explain the role of Dean of Arts and Humanities, what it is you do, and please keep in mind I'm a radio station DJ, so please use terms so simple a radio station DJ could understand.
All right, so my job really is to make sure that we do a couple of different things. One is that the arts and the humanities, these are programs like literature, history, philosophy, communication studies, music, theater, dance. These are some of the programs that we have in our school. My job is to make sure that they are properly funded, that they are properly supported administratively, that their students have every opportunity to be successful. So if I do my job well, deans are almost invisible, because what we want to do is we want to highlight the achievements of our students and our faculty, and especially the synergy that occurs between our students and our faculty.
Okay, so follow-up question. You said that when you do your job well, the dean should be practically invisible. But as someone who has worked at the radio station for a while and also works as a journalist in the media, I feel as though you're a dean who is accessible to the student body and the faculty. Is that part important to you, that people can say, hey, what's up, Dean? Or can we schedule an interview or a talk?
Yeah, so when I said if I do my job well, a dean should be invisible, what I really meant was the academic focus of what it is we do. So absolutely, the relationship between, in my mind, the relationship between the student and the faculty, and making sure that student success is primary, is really sort of what I meant by that. And I'm also thinking about other things having to do with, when things aren't going well, the dean absolutely steps in. But you're correct, because in a way, what I am is I'm an ambassador for the arts and the humanities coming out of Stockton University. So my intern, we're actually in my office right now. This is where problems get solved. This is where student support occurs. This is where faculty support occurs. But certainly I have an external role, and that's where I become an ambassador for the arts and the humanities. That's where I tell community leaders. That's where I tell stakeholders. That's where I go out and I talk to alums. That's where I go out and I talk to friends of the Performing Arts Center or the Art Garage or our programs. That's where I go and I tell them about what's actually happening here in our programs, because we want them to come in. We want people on campus. We want people in our Performing Arts Center. And of course, that's a really important role. To be an ambassador, to be an advocate for the really important role that the arts and the humanities play, not just at Stockton or in the region, but throughout the south of Jersey, and in fact, New Jersey and the Philadelphia and the Delaware area as well. So you're absolutely right. I have two roles. Where I spend a lot of my time is making sure that academic component is done well. But obviously, I'm also an ambassador, and it's a role I enjoy.
Well, I do want to thank you. I don't know if you remember, but I think our very first interaction may have been when I was at one of Dr. Allison's events, and I was kind of sitting at a table by myself, and we didn't know each other, and you were like, "Oh, come sit with us," and I'm like, "Oh, okay," because I as part of the radio station, I have to be an ambassador of sorts as well. So I'm like, really rather sit alone, but this guy asked me to sit at his table with him, so I'll go ahead and be sociable. And here I am hanging out with the Dean of Arts and Humanities. So, but I want to thank you because I think we can both say that there are times when people are sitting alone where they really don't want to be alone and may not know someone, and just taking a few seconds to say, "Hey, why don't you come sit with us?" means all the difference in the world.
You're welcome. I can't say I do remember meeting you on a number of occasions, but I am I think I'm a very communal person. So to hear you say that is not at all strange. It's the kind of thing I imagine I would do with anybody, really. So the Atlantic City area, the Atlantic City community. Speaking as somebody who's sort of come in from the outside in a way, there is a lot here that I think people who have been here for a long time, I don't want to say they take it for granted, but this is a magnificent community. It has so much potential. It has so much talent. The arts thrive here. The community garden at the Art Garage. Mud Girls with Dory. I mean, I don't want to list them, 48, I mean, I want to list all of them, but these are the museum, African American, brother Ralph Hunter. It was one of the things that's unique. So we have these things in our backyard here. And because they're right here in our backyard, we don't always see them for what they are. And for me, one of the things that they are is not only a wonderful display of art and culture, but they are also communal centers. These are spaces that are vital to what makes Atlantic City and the surrounding area what it is. So as I said, as somebody that really has come to Atlantic City from the outside, I see it immediately and the value of it, and it's something that I'm very grateful for.
What has been your vision for your time here at Stockton?
That's a great question. It's really important for me to make what we do in this school an integral part of what it means to live and learn and thrive in this area. Now, what I mean by that is I believe that the disciplines we teach in the arts and the humanities is in a way capable of helping people understand this cultural, political, and historical moment. There is this notion that you go to school so that you can get credentialed and then you can get a good job. The key part of what it means to go to school is actually to become well educated. And becoming well educated doesn't mean that you just get the credentials that will enable you to get a job. It also requires that you become a good citizen. And in becoming a good citizen, it requires you to have a really sort of holistic understanding of the world that you live in. Our disciplines provide that kind of holistic understanding.
Thank you. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the morning show edition. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, we always remind you, the Light Morning Show, it's your morning show, not mine. I'm just the producer. I'm just the host. You're from London? Okay, so being from London and your background as a doctor in the arts and everything, I'm sure you had many choices of colleges and universities. Why did you choose Stockton?
Yeah, I was born in the UK in London. I grew up in Bristol, which is in the southwest, and then we immigrated to the UK here. Actually, I immigrated to East Orange, New Jersey. My first school the first school that I taught at was Bloomfield College, and then I went to William Patterson, and then an opportunity to
so you can fight.
An opportunity to come to Stockton presented itself, and in fact, a mentor of mine was the one. He was a provost at one of the institutions where I worked, and he said, Ian, this school, you should take a look at this opportunity. This school is special. Its principles, its philosophy of education align with the growth that I've seen in you over the years. You need to apply for this job. And I did my due diligence. When I came here for my interview, I had studied the institution. And in fact, it was in complete alignment with my understanding of what a good, solid, high-quality education is supposed to do. So I don't really say what drew me here. What really compelled me to come was the alignment between my own goals and objectives, the recognition that here is a space where I could actually really commit myself to 110%, and I would understand what reaping the satisfaction of doing that would mean, because I would see it in the artwork, I would see it in the student success, I would see it in the alumni, I would see it in the people that I meet. And the way that I'm able to support the wonderful kinds of experiences that they want for their students. So it was more of an alignment in that sense. So and I've never looked back. It's been a wonderful experience so far.
All right, so Dr. Ian Marshall is yet another North Jersey person who turned their back on Kane College. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But that's a little inside joke because most in my generation, most of my friends from South Jersey went to North Jersey, and most of the North Jersey kids were here at Stockton. But that was about 1 billion years ago. So my next question is this. Today, I've seen young people from Sovereign Avenue and other Atlantic City schools walking around the college, walking around the university. My niece Lily is too smart to be a radio station DJ, thank God. But she plays the drums. She's an expert level violinist and pianist and has a 4.0 grade average. What would you say to her as to why she should pursue an education in the arts here at Stockton University?
You will not find a better general education curriculum than the one here at Stockton. You will not find a better integration of the liberal arts with that general education curriculum than the one here at Stockton. Before I got to Stockton, I heard about the general education curriculum and the way that it works seamlessly with our academic disciplines. It'll take a long time for me to explain the details of it, but some of the highlights are as follows. When you come to Stockton and you really want to study an academic discipline, the way the general education curriculum is organized, the way that it's integrated with the liberal arts, the way that it's integrated with what's sometimes perhaps wrongly called the hard sciences or the social sciences, it allows you to study things from multiple points of view, right? So you could study the guitar and at the same time study sound waves because of the way that faculty interact with one another. The fact that there is no geographic space on campus that you can call the literature department or the music department, because faculty are spread out across the campus, and the purpose for that is that it will actually engender all kinds of conversations between people in disparate, separate disciplines. No other program, no other general education curriculum really does that kind of thing. Now, if I might, I just want to say a word about that term liberal arts, because in some ways people think of it as, you just get to do what you want, right? Liberal arts, well, it's just going to be... That's not really what the liberal arts means. I read an article recently, and it was eye-opening for me because it captured what I had already sort of felt for a long time, right? So when you say that you're going to school, you're going to a university, you're going to study, you're going to, I don't want to pick on any particular discipline, but you might pick, for example, something in let's just say biology, right? Now, you are going to be a student of biology, right? Now, the liberal arts, it is called liberal because what it does is it allows you the freedom. So we mean liberal in terms of the freedom to study things from multiple points of view. So you can study biology as an art major by having a course that's co-taught or influenced by art and a biologist. So in my mind, being here at Stockton really captures and embraces the notion of the liberal arts, as in I am free to approach these various disciplines from multiple points of view. And in that sense, I think Stockton really has, cornered the market on the ability for someone to come here and really think.
Thank you, thank you. I also, if I might want to throw in, I think my niece should come here because of great professors like Professor White, Professor Vaughn, Professor Allison. I could go on and on and on. We have some dynamite professors in the arts and various studies here at Stockton University. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Light Morning Show edition, and we are so glad to be able to speak with the Dean of Arts and the Humanities, Dr. Ian Marshall, who's taken time out of his busy schedule to be with us. When you're not officially working as the Dean of Arts and Humanities here, what artistic passions do you enjoy?
I love to read. I'm a professor of literature by training. I developed that passion very early on. My primary school teacher was a big William Wordsworth fan, so I actually memorize Wordsworth poems from a very, very early age, and so on and so forth. And I never lost that passion when I went to college and sort of and developed an interest in reading. I actually did my dissertation on Ernest Hemingway and his short stories, and so I switched from sort of British lit to American lit when I came to America, the United States. It's a fascinating place, and one of its most fascinating authors, in my opinion, is Ernest Hemingway. And in many ways, he still has a lot to teach us. So I read, and I have really developed a love of the art garage. I go there. I meet Michael Cagno, who's the director there, and his staff. I go to the African American Museum there, obviously run by Mr. Ralph Hunter, and I just walk around there. I go into some of the stalls that are there, and I look around. There are people there that are now sort of my friends, like Peter Murphy and the Murphy writing group there. So these are spaces that I just feel at home. So that's what I do in terms of artistic appreciation and relaxation.
Who would know a radio station DJ would have so much in common with Dr. Ian Marshall? Shout out to Mr. Ralph Hunter. He just welcomed us there for a Martin Luther King program, A Time for Peace, and I went to my first Murphy writing group getaway in January, which is why we actually pushed back the event, because the Murphy writing group event was on Martin Luther King weekend. But Mr. Hunter welcomed myself and several poets and artists to the gallery for that. So yes. Just a quick PSA, if you've never been to, and I'm always surprised how many people have never visited the African American Heritage Museum in Atlantic City. It's free, it's open 5 days a week. You should take your family to go enjoy that. I'm running out of time, but I'll try and get these last few questions in. Do you miss the classroom? I remember you talking about that, and I know some teachers I'll say this. once an educator, always an educator, even if you're not specifically a teacher. But do you miss being in the classroom?
That's a great question, and yes, I think I do. And at some point, I can imagine, being back in the classroom in a full time way. Very, very difficult to teach and do this kind of work at the same time. There are a couple of professors here for whom I have done guest lectures. So I'll do a little thing on Hemingway or some of my other passions in rhetoric and composition and things like that. So those are opportunities I've had since I've been here. But I'm on a mission right now. My goal is to make this strengthen the already strong School of Arts and Humanities. I have a couple of ideas about how to do that, and I have a great support staff here, as you know, great faculty, and obviously great students. So at some point, I imagine I'll be back in the classroom, but not just yet.
After you retire, I'm sure, probably. Okay, so you and many of your faculty inspire so many students here on campus. And I'm not going to talk about you because you're evidently at least 55 years younger than me. But when I'm on campus, especially during the Christmas break or during the summer break, I think in my mind it wasn't that long ago that I was going here to parties and things of that nature. When I say to myself, it wasn't that long ago, when I was in college. And then, of course, when the students come back, I realize it's been 1,000 years since I was in college. But here's my question. You inspire so many students. What can you tell us about undergrad Ian Marshall?
Wow. Undergrad Ian Marshall started life playing soccer in Maine. I left high school in East Orange and was recruited to play soccer in Maine. And then after a year and some very chilly weather, I came back down here to New Jersey. And I went to Rutgers, and undergrad Ian spent a lot of time working and going to undergrad. So I didn't have a campus life beyond my freshman year. I grew up very quickly in retrospect. And if I could have done anything maybe a little bit differently, it would have been to really sort of understand how much there is to offer in an undergraduate education. I worked full time and I went to school full time, and my path is not the one that I would want necessarily for an undergraduate, because I would want them to spend more time really sort of thinking and reflecting, and really being immersed in what it means to be in an academic setting and all the things that it can give you. I had an education, but it was both in the work of world and in the world of academia. At that age, it's probably best you just give yourself some time to really, learn what it means to be in an academic intellectual setting. And in an odd way, the fact that I didn't have that as an undergrad probably, made me want to go back and get more degrees, which is an interesting way of thinking about it upon reflection, right? Had you not asked me the question, I'm not sure I would necessarily have thought that through the way that I just did. But I think that that's probably one of the reasons why I enjoyed the university setting and wanted more. Yeah.
I'll say this. I initially went to Atlantic Community College. It wasn't Atlantic Cape then. I would mainly come here for the parties. but here's my point. Stockton has always had a great campus, always been accessible. My first time being on campus, it was one of the first choir performances that Dr. Beverly Vaughn did with the Ebony Ensemble. And at that time, I had come with my parents. I may have been in junior high or high school. And here's my point. Even back then, the campus was accessible to people from Atlantic City. Today, in 2025, we actually have an Atlantic City campus. We have a Stockton campus. I believe there's a campus in Hamilton.
That's right.
Right, Kramer Hall. So my point is just this. If you're a student of any age listening to this broadcast, just take the time to enjoy the campus. And even if you're not a student, on my show, I regularly give away tickets to events that are happening at the Performing Arts Center. There are a lot of things that are done with African American studies that are open to the whole community. There's a whole multicultural center here that hosts events that are open to the whole community, and almost all of them, I believe, are without charge. So I'm just saying, whether you're 18, or 80, please come and enjoy the campus, and definitely tune in to 91.7 WLFR to listen to the morning show, the Light Morning Show. But I just wanted to piggyback on what you said, because if Dr. Vaughn had not invited me, had not invited my family to come see the Ebony Ensemble, I don't know what my relationship would be with Stockton or the arts even. So, I believe this is the next. Yeah, this is the next to last question. So, in April, the second annual Arts and Culture Summit is coming up, and I know you have to be on the list for that. But is there anything you want to say about that particular event?
Well, you asked me earlier about what my vision is for the School of Arts and Humanities and my role here at Stockton. And in many ways, the Arts and Culture Summit captures much of that. Now, we've heard a lot about things like economic summits. We're going to have